Hello everybody, I'm Lorenzo Marchessi and I'm here right at the beginning of this video we're about to watch to remind you to subscribe to my channel. It's very helpful if you do, and also please tell your friends, your family members, and share it if you can. Love to hear your comments and feedback, but just want to make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Geek Authority Show. I'm your host, Lorenzo Marchessi, and this is the show where I get to interview all kinds of wonderfully talented people from all walks of the entertainment community, be they actors, writers, directors, producers, cosplayers, musicians, authors, all kinds of different kind of individual one-woman, one-man shows. And today I have an extra special guest. I've known her for a while. She's a very talented actress. She's gorgeous, as you can tell, and her name happens to be Redetha Deason. Thank you so much, Redetha.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've seen you in quite a few productions on various stages, so clearly you are a seasoned actress and continuing despite this evil pandemic.
Yes.
But I know.
Soon
But
it will be over.
so let's start at the beginning. You were a native Californian, or are you from somewhere else?
No, I am actually from Pensacola, Florida. I was born and raised there.
Okay.
But I've been in California long enough that I consider myself more a Californian than a Floridian now.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, were you out of high school, out of college when you moved, or when did you move out?
I moved out of high school because I had met my now ex-husband. He was stationed there for flight school.
Okay.
So met him, moved to California actually, and got married. And then, long story short, and traveling across the country, ended up back out here like about 5 years after that. And I've been here ever since.
Okay, were you acting in high school?
No, I didn't do any acting in high school, and not really any throughout college until I got to St. Louis. And I finished up school in St. Louis, like my last 3 semesters. And I decided on a lark to sign up for an acting class and audition for a play. And the very first play that I auditioned for, I got cast as the lead in. So
What was that play?
Got bit by the bug right away. It was an Irish play called Translations, written by Brian Friel. And it was such a fantastic experience, learning a different accent and all of this history that I didn't know about Ireland, and just getting thrown into it all at once was just awesome.
So you went in there thinking you were just going to get a part or hope to get a part, and you ended up with the lead in the production?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the funny thing is that play, Translations, is also the very first play that I did when I moved to LA. I got cast.
How did that happen?
I saw the ad for it on Backstage, and I went and auditioned for it. And because I'd already done it, it was really familiar to me. And so I played a different role the second time, but it was still just as wonderful. It was with a theater company called Theater Banshee.
Okay, so this was in St. Louis. So this is after you graduated. Did you go to a university or college to study acting, or what was your?
I did. Well, I kind of jumped around with my major. I went from like psychiatry, psychology to political science, and I just didn't really. Yeah, I was always interested in the mind and what was going on, internally with people. And then finally, I was just like, I don't know. Let me try this acting thing, and I loved it, and so that's where I went into fine and performing arts, and I graduated from St. Louis University.
Oh, really? And your degree's in theater
Yeah.
arts?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I did the same route too. I took psychology. I took business courses. My degrees in communications, radio, TV, film,
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of thing. But my original, when I went into it, I was going to be. I was thinking a psychiatrist because I like the people thing. So
yeah, yeah. Me too.
hence the show I'm doing. Right, I'm talking to wonderful people. And
Exactly.
so you came to California, and how would you say the transition was in terms of? Was your goal to be just in theater, or did you get an agent and do commercials? How about that? Where did that go?
It was a long process. I didn't really get started right away because when I moved out, we came out so that I could do acting, pursue acting in film or TV or whatever I could get, basically. But I was also still married at the time, and my ex was going to law school out here. So
Okay.
I was working as well, to put him through law school. So it was kind of a bit of a delay for me to get into acting once I got out here. Um, and then, just going through a divorce and things like that, it took a while for me to get into the community here. But one of the first places that I really started acting was with Right Act Repertory.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them.
They're still around, and I think they're in NoHo now, but they were in Hollywood at the time, and that's where I met Bennett Cohen, who was instrumental in casting me in Geeks the Musical, which we'll get all of that in a bit, but that's where it all got started.
Yeah, I'm. No, people at home can't see me clapping because I'm. No, they can't. I'm a geek myself, as of course the Geek Authority. And there's this one musical that this friend of ours, yours and not mine, Tom Mizuraka, who wrote and produced, and the whole. It's a musical based on basically going to Comic Con kind of thing. And I had no idea you were in the first original cast. I mean, he talked about it a lot, and I'm
Yeah,
begging him to do it again, put it up again. But
I
apparently,
definitely did it again.
it's a big project, right? Or
Yeah, it's been a really a really big project for him. It's gone. It started here in LA, and then it had a run on off Broadway and also in San Diego, which I thought was really cool. The heart of Comic Con. So yeah,
and you were in both productions, or all of them, or what?
no, I was only in the production that was here in LA, but
Oh,
we did two separate productions of it.
okay.
Um, and a reading as well. So there were a lot of
Oh,
different.
so you were part of the development of it, the
I was,
first. The
yeah,
de-
the very
oh,
first reading.
that's got to be exciting. What was your? I just we're going on and on about it. What was your number? Did you have like your own number, or?
Oh yeah, I had a couple. The main one that I sang was "Girl at Comic Con,"
Uh oh. I
and
I really got to see this play.
and then a
Anyway,
lot of duets. Yes, you do.
okay, and tell Tom. Tom, if you're watching, anyway, so you're in LA. You've kind of had to do some, get some life settling things going on.
Yeah, exactly.
How many companies, theater companies, are you involved with, or have you been involved with since you jumped on stage?
Not that many. I'd say probably four different theater companies.
Right, because I know you've
Um,
you've done Zombie Joe's,
Zombie Joe's, Right
Force of
Act,
Nature, Force of Nature,
Force of
which is
Nature,
current.
hmm
What was the right?
Right Act Repertory,
Okay, that's the one you just mentioned.
and then there's another one, and I'm not sure if they're active at the moment, but I did a show with them called Inherit the Wind, and their name was Action Theater.
Oh, okay. So,
And
but
that was
currently you're pretty much a staple in the Force of Nature productions, correct?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll see why later. So, in terms of the acting part, do you find do you feel comfortable when you're going out for, like, say, auditioning? Do you have prepared pieces, or do you just kind of read sides from the shows you're doing, or how do you do that?
I feel more comfortable reading sides. I've never been a great monologue auditioner,
Okay,
so it's definitely a skill that I need to develop more, but it's not something I enjoy. I'd much rather bounce off of other people and do, read
right.
sides and that kind of thing.
So
So
you don't feel comfortable like preparing a piece and then going to presenting it versus, you're reading when you go to an audition. I would imagine you're reading cold sides. You're not,
yeah,
you don't know, what you're getting.
I
Uh,
much prefer that because I feel like I get out of my head when I'm reading cold versus if I'm if I'm doing something prepared, I'm thinking, oh, I didn't do that quite right, or
Yeah, and I've heard
it's not going the way I want it to, that kind of thing.
right. I've heard that before, where sometimes you get in the way of yourself
Hmm.
in terms of the choices you make in terms of the readings or whatever for the.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's jump into some of these fabulous images that you had sent me, and there she is, waiting for her star on the Walk of Fame.
I just got my hair done, and the lighting in the car was perfect.
There
So
you go. It was actually. I thought it was a studio shot until I realized it was like in the sea. But did
yeah,
you did this yourself?
yeah, that's a selfie.
Wow, very nice.
Mhm.
Okay, I remember this. In fact, didn't I design this?
Did you? Did you?
Yes, it's my. I can see my logo on the
Oh
bottom.
my gosh!
That's okay.
I
I'm.
love that.
This was how many years ago?
I believe, this was 2015. This was the very first show that Force of Nature put up.
Yes, and how would you describe this? This was for Halloween, I believe, the season.
It wasn't for Halloween, actually. I believe we did this in February or March or
That
April.
early? It wasn't
It,
summer.
no, yeah, it wasn't. It was early. I do remember that because after that we had a rush in June, and that was our
Okay.
first rush. But it should have been a Halloween show, because it's a small town group of the local ladies who get involved in the occult, and mayhem ensues. It was a really, really fun show, and of course another Tom Mizuraka wonderful piece.
Oh, that's right. He wrote this. Oh my God. This is turning into the Tom show. Okay. Tom.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've been able to do several of his plays, and I'm always up for doing anything that he writes.
Yeah, especially when he does a lot of readings too. So have you done any of those where he's like figuring out the characters in the story? Have you done those
Yeah,
with him?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I've done a lot of those. It's
okay.
always so much fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too as far as acting goes. This, I believe, is a short film, which I believe was award winning, I believe.
It was. It won best in show, I guess you call it, at the Pensacon Film Festival. It was their very first film festival, so that
And
was
it's
really
called.
exciting in my hometown.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Is what's it? This is called the title. Help me.
Oh, the title is called Defense Mechanism.
Defense Mechanism. I had
Yeah.
it in my head, but I lost it. And it was written and directed by, I believe, Sebastian.
No, it was written by Matt Denoto, who is the guy that you see right there in the green jacket.
Okay.
So he wrote it for a sort of an anthology series, I think, of plays that he had, and he didn't end up putting it up. And I read it, and I was like, "Oh, I love this script, and I think it would make a great little film." So we're like, "Okay, let's do it." So we shot it, over the course of a night, and then a few pickup shots in a friend's garage, basically.
And
Angie
it,
Weissman, you know Angie Weissman, right?
right. Yes.
Yeah, in her garage, and it was
Wow. And
great. It was a fun shoot.
right. And it's basically zombie-ish story.
And,
I don't want to ruin it for
yeah,
anybody.
it's a zombie love story of sorts.
Yeah, it's got a unusual twist at the end. You got to see it. Oh my God, what are you doing here?
This was really fun. This was a shoot I did. I got called in. For some reason, I get called in to play zombies on TV shows. So I got called in for American Housewife, and we'd shot 2 days, like in like 95-degree heat out in Sherman Oaks. But it was really, really fun shoot.
Okay.
And
What are you
yeah,
doing? What is the story? What are we doing? What are we seeing?
this story, they were doing a zombie run, like a 5K run
Huh.
in this town, and so I'm playing a zombie that's chasing after the runners.
Okay, because I believe I have one more picture close up.
Yeah, she's telling me to back off.
Really? And
Yeah,
you're attempting to eat her? I take it, or
yeah, or make it look like I am. Yeah.
lunch snack, whatever. Okay.
And then this one was for Rosolian Isles. It was an episode where they were going to sort of a Comic Con type thing, like a zombie con. I think they did call it Zombie Con, and we got to play zombies that were showing up to the con.
Now I'm curious. Do you like playing zombies? Is it fun for you?
Yeah, I do.
Is the makeup a big part of it? Because you know
I love the makeup and yeah,
in the
I
blood
love.
and the gore and all that. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not as good as it as I would like to be. I'd like to do more prosthetic work, but the cool thing is, and the reason why I do love it is one of the first shows that I did at Zombie Joe's was called Attack of the Rotting Corpses, and it was the first production of that show. They've done like 4 or 5 different versions of it. It was the very first one, and that's the one where I met Mr. Sebastian Munoz.
Oh, I wonder who Sebastian is. Okay.
Hmm.
Now this looks like a bunch of zombies having a little break here.
Yeah, we were having a social media break on the set of American Housewife, and somebody took a picture.
Yeah, and they're all texting each other. No, just kidding.
Yeah. What's for lunch?
Is
Brains.
this behind the theater, or where's this, outside, or?
No, this was outside in I forget the name of the park. It was in Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's Zombie Joe. Now he's done quite a few productions that are of the horror genre.
Yes, he has, and this was to promote his most famous show, Urban Death, and this was a shoot with a magazine called Girls and Corpses. So they did kind of a spread with a bunch of us from Urban Death, doing our different pieces from that show. And then this was sort of the final group shot that they did.
Right. And are you really, did she Photoshop, or are you all holding the magazines?
We're all holding the magazines.
Wow. And was this done on Zombie Stage?
It was.
Yeah. He has a really nice black box. Yeah, really nice black box theater, and the lighting there, you can really control the lighting. And it looks like there's almost smoke in there too, or is that the wall? Probably.
I can't tell, and I don't remember. It could have been just the wall, but
right.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yay!
Yay!
Tom, I want to see this. Will you please put this up again? This is
got to come back again.
This is Geeks the Musical, correct?
Yes, this was the last production that we did. And the funny thing is that each production, the lead guy changed. It just turned out that way, that we had to cast a new guy every time. But they were all wonderful.
Right, and can we give a shout out to some of the actors in there? Sebastian's in the center with you.
Yeah, Sebastian's in the center with me. Second from the left is Tyler Coster, who also did a lot of stuff at Zombie Joe's, and he was one of the leads as well. Yeah, and next to him is an actor named Will Bauer, who played he was basically my sidekick, but he was also the foil, if you will, for the musical.
And this is the director right here, right?
Yeah, that's Bennett Cohen. Wonderful, wonderful director. I've worked with him several times and hope I get to many, many more times.
And Waldo, who's playing Waldo?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember. He
Harry
was only in one production, and now that was Laura Delano.
Okay, and Green Lantern, I guess?
Oh, shoot, it's been so long.
Is this a Trekkie down here?
Yeah, that's James Louis.
Now, this guy looks very familiar. Is that who I think it is?
Yeah. Steve.
Who? Steve Alloway.
Yes, Alloway, yeah.
And this little bunch here?
Oh, Brandon is the one in the gray shirt. Liz, she was our choreographer.
Oh.
Yep, and I can't see who that was in between them.
You mentioned these two. How about these two?
Okay, the gentleman in the back was Dan, and he was also one of the main characters. And then next to him is Damaris.
Okay.
She was basically the Geek group,
right?
Chorus.
And basically, for the audience who doesn't know, it basically is Geek the Musical, and it basically takes. I guess the story is obviously convention goers, and some of the stereotypical perceptions of them, shall we say?
Right.
All done with musical numbers, right?
Yes.
Oh.
And drama ensues, of course, at the Comic-Con. But then it's all resolved, very happily in the end. So
nice. I want to see it so bad. Tom.
And when I did that show, this was the very first staged read through that we did. This
one here?
Musical. This is also Geeks.
Really?
Yeah, so you can see some of the same actors and a lot of
and Tom, the writer.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Okay, and he's the director, right? Right here.
Yeah, that's Bennett. Yep.
Okay, so this
And
is
Herman Poppy is right behind Bennett, the tall gentleman.
here.
Yeah, he's also a writer and an actor. He's a wonderful guy.
Did Tom do the music too, or did you have a composer?
Tom wrote the lyrics, and Ruth, I believe that's Ruth, who's in the red hair, standing next to me on the left.
Uh-oh, I've got to find you. Where are you?
Okay,
Oh,
I'm in
there
the
you are.
blue.
Right here.
Yeah,
Right
yeah, that's Ruth Jedkowitz, and she wrote the music to Tom's lyrics
here.
for all the
Okay.
songs. And she was great. Love her.
Now I don't see is Sebastian in here?
He wasn't in this reading actually, but he was there at the reading.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
He joined right after this.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's Sebastian. What was his character? Who was his character?
he was a part of the Geek chorus,
Okay.
and he was the comic relief. He was hilarious.
Wow. I definitely want to see it. Now, do you want to talk a little bit more about Mr. Sebastian, or do you just want to say, you guys have been working together for a long time?
We
Um,
have. We started working together. It was 10 and a half years ago.
is
As
that how you
zombie
met
goes.
on stage? You met on stage?
Yep. We were
Oh,
both cast in Attack of the Rotting Corpses, and we were actually acting in scenes together, and transformed into zombies, and that's where everything began.
can I say this, or I can cut it out if you'd like? But you two are a couple, correct?
We are, yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep, we've been together
You didn't
ever
say it. I
since.
tried to I'm fishing it out of you. Come on.
Zombies fell in love and
There
happily
you
ever
go.
after.
Yes, and they've done quite a few shows together. And wait till you see some of the video we're about to show you. I believe this is the last one, and this is one of my favorite characters you've ever done.
Oh,
Um,
thank
I,
you.
I saw this. I saw that you guys do this, the original one, on stage before you did the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I didn't laugh so hard. I mean, this is your. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a soap opera, but a Spanish soap opera. And you know more about the Spanish culture than I do, but it was so funny, over the top characters. Everything was colorful. You and like I said, you had these nails and the attitude, and you tell it. I'll shut up.
It's such a wonderful like celebration of Mexican culture and the telenovelas. Didn't really know a lot about telenovelas. I mean, I knew that they were Spanish soap operas, but I hadn't really watched any, and they're so fun to watch. And you don't really have to know the language to be able to get the story. You get it from the acting, which is great. And just being able to play a character like that, just so over the top and just get into it, it was so much fun, and it's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and I remember everybody, even the men, were like, Tony, oh, it was all
So
very
much
theatrical. It was hysterical. Um, so in terms of doing something like that, that was an original script, and nobody had ever done the characters
Yes.
before, correct? Right?
No. Right,
Oh.
exactly.
Okay, so when you're approaching a project like that, do you get to develop that character, or is it pretty much scripted and directed? Or, I mean, your character alone, I mean, did you decide to make her so, I don't know what the word is, flamboyant and feisty and
Yeah,
funny?
well, she is written that way, but yeah, you get to figure out how far you can go with it, and what works, and what doesn't. And honestly, it was terrifying for me because I had no idea if I could do a Mexican accent. So I'm like watching YouTube videos and trying to hear it, and figure out how to make it sound right. And that was such a fun challenge to be able to do.
Well, and do they pull you back, or do you start over the top and they pull you back, or in terms of the performance, or
I'm I'm
or
more of an
let
actor
you
where you
run?
have to like push me. Like I'll start at a place, and then they'll be like, okay, more, and then I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Versus starting like way crazy and then bringing it down.
So, in terms of that, have you done a play have you done any Shakespeare?
I have done Shakespeare actually.
Would you,
Early
would,
on in my career in
what'd you do? Which
St. Louis, just out of college,
okay.
I did a production of Twelfth Night. and I
Ooh.
played Viola.
And how was that for you? Because that's his language alone is like blah, blah, blah.
Shakespeare is it's something that you will be learning your whole life, like how to play it better. You know, I like to just sit and read Shakespeare just so that I can read it better and to learn how to speak it better. You know, it's such a wonderful
And
challenge,
you would do it again,
and
right?
I like to watch it too.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, I would
yeah,
definitely.
very cool. All right, let's jump to. I think this is going to be fun. This is it's Margarita, correct? That's her character name. And this is not too long.
Yes,
So,
Margarita.
okay, so we're gonna take a look at this, folks. Here we go.
Has the coronavirus left your manicure looking neglected and rough? Aren't you sad that you can't go to the salon to keep your nails looking sexy? It's time to tell the coronavirus no mas. Now, you too can have a gorgeous manicure anytime you want with Impress Press-On Nails. In just 5 minutes, go from naked and afraid to sexy and confident. It's so easy. All you do is press and go. Never let another virus take away your right to have gorgeous nails.
How funny. Okay, so this came about. Let me do this here, right? So this came about because obviously the coronavirus hit. Theaters had to shut down. Everything was, people were trying to, keep their theater companies going or generate revenue of some sort. Right. So this was an extension of the original telenovela. I can't even say it. Telenovela stage production that you did in terms of the characters and so on and so forth. So how did you produce that yourself, or how did you?
I did. What we did, everybody had the assignment to, create their own little commercial to go with the web series, and you had to shoot it yourself, because we were all quarantined at that point. So everybody worked on it, in their own space, and I shot that one day sitting at my desk, and it turned out better than I thought. Actually, I was really happy with it.
Now, you did it over and over and over, or was there anybody directing you, or?
No, it was all me.
Wow.
And I did like the pickup shots with the nails and everything. Yeah.
Wow, and then someone else put the magical stardust and all that in, and the editing.
Sebastian did that. Yeah, he
that
did
was
all
cool.
The extra.
That was cool.
Now the funny thing is, for his commercial for Chase, I was the person holding the camera.
Okay. Yes, Chase. Yeah,
everybody did some great commercials. Hilarious stuff.
Okay, and tell us about this. This is the telenovela home shooting? Homeschooling. Like home shooting? Okay, bang, bang. Yes, okay.
The web series, it was, I think, 5 or 6 episodes, based on what everybody's going through during the quarantine. I want to see what your favorite soap opera stars are having to deal with, during the quarantine. And so this episode is homeschooling, where they're attempting to homeschool their grown children during the quarantine. So it was great. It was so much fun.
Volume of 2 azúcar tequila bottles, and you mix in the volume of 3 Lahara wine bottles, you get
an alcoholic stepfather?
No, it's
6.7 bottles of Inocula.
No, it says that the answer right here. It says
now
147 liters for that putrid crap you call Vinocula.
It is.
Is that Anne? That's Anne.
That's Anne. Yeah, Anne Erigui.
Oh, yeah.
Gloria Galvan plays Mike.
It's my dog.
Right there.
It's Gloria?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And that was a story. It was the very first theater production we did of telenovela.
I can't do this.
That someone else, a guy, had been cast to play Mike, and he didn't show up to rehearsal. And Gloria was there, and Sebastian was like, "Well, why don't you just play Mike until we figure out what's going on with this guy?" And she stepped right into it, and we knew nobody else was ever going to play Mike because she was fantastic.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I'd watched it before, but I didn't realize that was Gloria, and I knew Anne, and I'd forgotten Anne was in it. But so you did this when you said rehearse. So you rehearsed on Zoom?
We did. Yeah.
Okay, so the
We
costumes and
all
all
rehearsed.
that came. The costumes came later. Did Gloria go? I'm gonna look like a Mexican like that. I mean, how did she?
Yeah, well, that's been her character since the beginning. We first put this up at Zombie Joe's in, I think that was 2014 when we did that. So it's been around for a while. We've done 3 different staged versions of it.
Okay, I guess I haven't seen all three then. Wow,
You've seen the second one, which we did in North Hollywood.
that's the one on Burbank Boulevard.
Uh, no, that was actually a telenovela Christmas Carol.
Oh,
So it was a
so
little different.
I've seen more than I realized. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm old. That's my excuse. Okay.
No.
All right, what do we got here? We got No Problem. What's No Problem?
No Problem is another wonderful script by Tom Mizuraka that was a play, and we decided to make a film out of it. And it's, it's an interesting take on self-help groups. This is a group that meets. It's a group of people who don't have any problems, and they're helping each other cope with the fact that they don't have any problems.
So it's a therapy group dealing with the fact that they have no problems
Yes.
as a problem.
Yes, that's their only problem is that they don't have any problems.
Now I recognize Heidi, Happy. I
Yes.
recognize you. There you are. Who are the other two actors?
Jerry Chappell is that gentleman right there, and Walter Isaac is the other guy with the beard.
Okay. And this looks like you did this on stage.
We did it on a sound stage, and it was sort of already set up this way. And Sebastian was like, "Okay, this works. Let's go with this." So it kind of looks like a community center rec room, of sorts.
Right.
So we went with it, and
Very
it turned
cool.
out really great.
Yeah, and for everybody watching, I'm gonna put the links up on this video when it drops, so you can go watch these at your convenience. And please comment and like and share and all that. I'm sure Redetha would appreciate that.
Definitely.
And Force of Nature. So let's talk a little bit about in terms of when you're doing acting, in terms of working with other performers and things like that. Do you find how do I do this? How do I say this? You got to company together. Everybody's been cast in their roles. Do you find it challenging? I guess would be a nice word. And sometimes getting used to someone's acting style, like if you have intimate scene with a man or your love interest or whatever, or an arguing scene with, say, another female. How do you as an actress deal with another person's style in performing?
You adapt. Like that's the fun of acting, is that there's no one right way to do it, and you can learn from the way other people jump into a role, how they learn their lines, how they come up with their business that they do. I love like just bouncing back and forth, with other actors and watching how they work, and learning what I can from that. And
How do you feel about like improvisation? Have you done improv?
I have done improv. I'm not great at improv, but I do like it. I love watching it. I mean, I'm in awe of people who can just, fly off the cuff with anything, and Sebastian's actually really good at improv.
Okay, so how would you, for those who don't know, how would you describe what is improv acting? What improvisation?
Improv is really just being like in the moment and listening to what you're given and then just giving whatever comes naturally in response, and keeping it positive and upbeat and, just going with it. And it's really, you have to get out of your head. And that's one of the hardest things to do, get out of your head and just let yourself just be in the moment and not judge whatever happens, because you want to make something happen.
That's like the second or third time you mentioned getting, inside your head again. Is that something you're aware of when it happens, or do you realize it after the fact?
No, you're aware of it when it happens. It's definitely a process to learn how to set it aside, because every actor has that. Every actor is going to be thinking about what they're doing and judging themselves and grading themselves, at any moment, and you just have to make it a discipline to just set that aside, and say, okay, yeah, I don't need to do that right now. Let me just be here and connect with
Right.
whatever
And
I'm doing.
how much does an audience play in your performance? Having a physical audience there, does that excite you or thrill you? Or does that
Yeah,
make you nervous or?
all of the above, which is great. Like I love the nerves, because I feel like it's always a little triumph. Like when you're feeling the nerves before, and then you just get out there and you start doing it, and you hear the audience giving you feedback and reaction. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I
It's
would
so
imagine
fun.
I would imagine things like comedy would be a great kind of gauge because if a joke is working or the line is delivered. One night that you deliver the line the same way 5 nights in a row, and night 3 and night 4, huge laugh, and night 1 and 2 are like, are they asleep?
Yeah, every audience is different, and you never know how they're going to react to something. So you can never count on it. You can never be like, okay, so I know they're going to laugh here, and I know they're going to be like, oh, here. You never know,
So
because
do you adjust your performance based on like what a previous audience responded?
I try not to. I try to give the same performance, every time. Uh,
Okay.
I think, and especially for theater, you have to do that. I mean, you can definitely improve your own performance, but I don't change it based on whatever I'm getting from the audience. Not really.
Okay, and then I'd imagine a lot of it's rehearsed, and the directors kind of refine the points of the scene and all that. So, how do you have you ever had an experience on stage, an embarrassing moment, a prop didn't work, a costume piece fell off, you said somebody else's line? Has that ever happened? An
Oh yeah,
anecdote?
all of that has happened. Oh yeah, I'm trying to
Really?
think.
Well,
Yeah, I think at one point, I had a glass break on stage, so you have to deal with that. You have to sort of clean that up and get it out of the way and deal
and
with.
what you mean by that is like in character, you're doing that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to do
Yeah.
that in character for sure.
How about a funny moment? Can you remember a funny moment for yourself?
Uh, um, gosh, not right offhand, but I know that I've had those moments where you're just like, "What's going on?" Or you forget a line and you're like,
Where
"Uh,"
am I?
and it feels like it's 10 years until you remember it. It was
Now,
like,
have you been on the other side of it where you're acting with somebody and clearly they don't know where they are or they don't know where they should be? Have you have you fed them or helped them?
oh yeah, oh yeah. Actually, the first play I ever did at Zombie Joe's, we had an experience where, a wonderful guy, um, couldn't quite remember the lines from night to night, so you definitely had to be ready to, jump in and steer him in the right way, and that's a great experience. And
Yeah.
actually, I have an even better experience in that. This was
Uh-oh.
actually really crazy early on in my career in St. Louis. I was doing a play called Firefox, and there was an older couple, beautiful older couple in this play, and the woman was playing the lead. And one night, she on stage, like within the first 5 minutes of the show, she kind of shut down. Like she didn't know her lines, and we were all literally saying her lines and carrying the play because we didn't know what was going on. And I don't know why we didn't stop the play because it was really concerning. And it turned out that afterwards she had this thing called global transient amnesia, where just for that little bit she forgot what she was doing, or really where she was. But she stayed on stage, and she just kind of went with it and
Now
didn't
I'm
really know
curious.
what was going
Did,
on.
did she find out? She found out or find out that she had this condition because of the play? Is it or is
Not
this
because of the
ongoing?
play. No, yeah, it was like in the middle of the run.
Right.
They don't know why it happened. It was just this really strange
One,
thing. She went to the
one
doctor
night?
one night. She was fine after that. We finished the run and it was fine.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. That's one of the most interesting experiences I've had on stage.
And so I imagine every fellow actor performer was kind of dealing with that on stage.
Oh yeah.
And at the time she had no idea what was going on.
No, she didn't. She was just kind of like there. Like she knew. I think she knew she was supposed to be there, but she just didn't know why, or yeah.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
It was
for a lot of other reasons, medical reasons. So
yeah, we were really worried, but it turned out okay.
So have you done any children's theater? That's one question I've always wanted to know.
I have actually. I did a show at Zombie Joe's called The Tortoise and the Hare, which was a show that was written. It's a musical written by Denise Devon.
I remember. Yes.
Yeah.
So
and that was really
tell us
fun.
about working that show, being a musical, being a children's show, and then working with Zombie. Denise directed it, right?
Denise directed it, yeah.
Okay, how was that experience? How the whole?
Denise is a great director, and that show was really fun to do. I mean, the kids love it, and you just love like singing for them and being these little characters. I played the squirrel. And it was great. It was such a fun time. I would do children's theater anytime.
Yeah, because she's big with the Shakespeare productions over there at Zombie.
She's done some great shows.
Yes, and cleverly, what's the word? Cleverly spiced up, because I always say this about Denise. Every time I think I've seen every version of Hamlet or Twelfth Night or Midsummer Night's Dream, she comes up with these spins that make it fresh and new and fun and relatable, because Shakespeare's not easy to swallow for a lot of people.
I agree. And the thing that she does really well that I love, I don't have the patience anymore really to sit through like 2 or 3 hours of Shakespeare, and the way that she breaks down a script and gets to the heart of it and puts it on stage in an hour, right, I think is brilliant.
Absolutely. And in one show she did, I think it was Midsummer Night's Dream, she sped up like the first 5 minutes, so the entire play would and we're like, you're not missing anything, the story's still there, but it's like
it
wow.
makes sense. It's like, yes, this is how it should be.
Now I don't know if Shakespeare would like that version, but
maybe not, but for our audiences, for today's audiences, I think it works.
Yeah, the MTV quick cut kind of car explosions, but anyway. So I'm curious. So people watching this, obviously you're excited about what you do. You've done quite a bit. We've seen you perform in various characters. What kind of advice would you give people thinking about or wanting to go into acting, as far as, things that they should do or be careful of, just sage wisdom that, is this something that they should do or want to do?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I think the world always needs actors, storytellers,
But what would you tell them? What advice? What words of wisdom?
Just study the craft. I mean, you really have to. Yeah, take acting classes. Read plays. Reading plays, and it really helps you with reading comprehension. And that's a big thing. That's half of acting, is just understanding what you're reading and being able to communicate it.
Right. Is memorization easy for you?
Yeah, it has been. And I don't know that I have any specific way that I do it. I just go through it
over and over and over.
Yeah, I just go through it over and over. And
so
then I do. Sorry.
You don't have any tricks of how to, you've got this big monologue. Any tricks on how to study that or memorize that?
Yeah, I would break it down into smaller bits and try and follow the thoughts. Like, why am I saying this right now? How does this lead into this next line? And then going on from there. It's like connecting the dots and following the trail that you make, in your mind.
So the acting choices you make come after, because you're kind of understanding what you're reading, you're kind of getting a thread of what this piece is, and then you start creating the character, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, no, I think it's that. You really have to get the words down first, cold, before you can play. and explore the character and the beats with the other actors and that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think, memorizing is, the
Now,
most important thing to do right away.
you done directing? Have I seen your?
I have. I directed one short piece for a show we did several years ago called Tales from Tomorrow, and it was a wonderful experience. I don't think I'm a great director. I don't think
Why?
know how to communicate as
Well,
well
what,
as I would like to.
what do you mean by that? How do you you're doing fine now? How do you?
Like some directors just have a way of being able to see what you're doing and getting you to the place that they want you to be, you know. And for me, I find that harder to vocalize.
Okay, meaning getting an actor to go where you want them, or
Yeah,
communicating.
getting them like to the place, like emotionally, and just in making the play work on an emotional level. Getting them to the place where they need to be.
Okay, so directing is probably not, something you're going to be doing a lot of in the future, or
No, I don't think so.
okay, you like putting on the characters.
I do. Yeah, I'm much more into acting.
Okay, so I do this with all my guests too. So I kind of do a list of their favorites. So
Okay.
if you had to say what was your favorite, I think we talked a little bit about it, but what would you say is your favorite Shakespeare play?
Hmm.
And I'm talking about viewing, not necessarily being in. But you can do both. It's up to you.
I think the one that I consistently go to the most to watch is Macbeth. I always find it fascinating. Mm-hmm.
Really? Because a lot of people think that's really heavy and really dark and really,
It is, but I just love all the different ways people come up with to tell the story. Like setting it in different time periods, and I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I got to see a all female cast production of Hamlet, which was amazing. I think it was the L.A. West Theater near the airport, and I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, oh, sounds cool, and I'm like, it was better than some of the other productions I've seen of regular casted Hamlet. So it was like, it blew me away. How about your favorite musical? Do you have a favorite musical?
Yeah, I do. It's cheesy. I love The Phantom of the Opera. It's my favorite. I know
Andrew Lloyd Webber. No, I think that's a great piece. I mean, I got to see it with Robert Guillaume. I didn't see him. I didn't see Michael Crawford, but I got to see it with Guillaume here in L.A. And I didn't know he could sing. Number one, and what a phantom he was. So,
I can only imagine. Wow.
Okay, favorite comedy?
Like movie or TV show?
Both, and play.
And play. Ay, ay, ay.
I like that response.
Shoot. I'm going to go with telenovela because that's the one that makes me happiest to watch, even though I'm in it.
Oh, okay. But you're not a fan of like for example, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite comedies is a play called Noises Off. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I haven't seen it, but it's great.
Yeah, it's an ensemble piece. It's a wonderful stage kind of developed, multi-level kind of thing. It's really funny. People are going in and out of doors, that kind of thing. And then
I can see one on Broadway, and the thing is, I've seen so many that I'm like, oh, what have I seen? What do I like? A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder on Broadway was really fun. Yeah,
that's a good one. Okay, how about, do you have a favorite drama? Mine, one of my favorites is called 12 Angry Men, the court case. It's a really heavy drama. And then classics, I do like A View from the Bridge. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
I haven't seen A View from the Bridge.
Yeah, it's a Arthur Miller classic. So,
shoot, I mean, drama. I'm probably a bigger geek than you are.
Uh-oh.
So, I'm always going to go for my franchises like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, Star Wars.
Do you consider Harry Potter a drama?
Yeah. I mean, there's humor in it, but I consider it a drama.
Okay, for me, it's more of a sci-fi fantasy kind of area.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so.
I mean,
as far as straight dramas, what do I go to? Nothing's coming to me at the moment.
Okay, no problem. The other thing too is I got to touch base a little tiny bit. You and I, you're like the only other person on the planet that I'm aware of, although that's not true. I know a couple. They're a fan of a particular television show from the 70s.
Yes.
So you want to mention that a little bit?
Yes, and you are probably one of the only people I've ever met that's had even heard of it. Besides Tom. Tom had heard of it too, Tom Mizraka. But, you and I are fans of Space 1999, and I've loved it since I was a kid. I watched it as a kid with my mom. And I was such a big fan of it that when I came out here, one of the first like total geek out moments I had, I was in Ralph's shopping, and I go down one aisle, and there's Martin Landau in the aisle, and I'm like, oh, and I go up to him and I'm like, oh, I just want to say I loved you. I did. I went up to him and shook his hand, and I was like, I loved you in Space 1999. He's like, oh, thank you. He was very gracious, even though I don't think he was a fan of the show itself, from what I remember, but but he was really sweet.
Wow, how cool is that?
It was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times. I've interviewed him at various conventions and things, and Barbara Bain and Nick Tate, a couple of the others. I believe Bond Girl herself, your favorite, Catherine Schell, was at a couple of them. So, but anyway, we're geeking out again. So, any final or closing words you'd like to tell everybody, or about anything, or yourself, acting, words of wisdom?
I support local theater. That we're going to need all the help we can get once we're able to come back. Do
you know what Force of Nature is doing in the future, or can you talk about that? Or
no, I don't really know. There's no plans as of yet for when we're going to make our return to the stage. So right now
we have to wait for the governor and all that stuff, and the health department and all that. But any more Zoom productions? I know you've done a couple Zoom things.
Yeah, we have we just finished shooting another telenovela Zoom piece. It's sort of a Halloween murder mystery themed Zoom.
Are you a bad girl?
I'm not going to say.
Does she go bad?
Well, bad as she always is.
Okay. That's a fun bad. I like that bad.
Yeah,
that's a good bad.
And then we have a rush coming up, a music rush.
Music, really?
It's going to be a little different. Yeah, it's plays that the plays are going to be written with the inspiration of a piece of music that was chosen. So our composer, Trisha Menti, she came up with, I think it's 5 or 6 different pieces of music that she composed herself. And each director picked randomly a music choice. And so now the writers have to write a play based on what this music says to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a feeling piece.
Like to listen to the piece and then come up with a story that fits that piece of music.
Oh, wow.
And then the second component is that there's going to be 5 different songs, actual original songs written for the show. And they were given random genres to write. And then other people are going to be singing the songs and playing the songs, like singers and musicians. And then we're going to record those and add those to the mix. Wow. So I'll actually be singing a piece for this one.
I kind of like that. It's kind of a neat idea with the original songs and but you said it's Halloween themed, or that's different.
Oh, that was telenovela. No, this one, no, it's just normal. I think that's going to be in the summer.
Okay.
Or maybe
and you guys always do something for Christmas, right?
We do. I'm not sure what we're doing yet this year, but
well, it's
maybe another rush. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Very cool. All right. Redetha, this has been so much fun. I hope you've had a great time with me.
I've had a fantastic time.
You are an amazing actress. You're a wonderful person. Let me tell you guys, she's nice. She's friendly. I love seeing her after the shows because she's always excited and revved up and stuff. But she's funny. She's scary. She plays scary well too.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah, and if you ever need a zombie, there's your girl.
I'm your girl.
Walking Dead. Okay. Uh, you would love that, wouldn't you?
That'd be a dream come true, honestly.
Yeah, because they're in Georgia. I think they shoot on that camp in Georgia. So,
Maybe that's not too far from my hometown. Just saying.
okay, casting people, call her up. Her number's 555. No, just kidding. Anyway, thank you so much for Redetha. This has been an amazing experience for me, and hopefully,
Thank you,
again,
Lorenzo.
I appreciate you doing
Always
it.
a pleasure.
Oh, just in case you haven't, somewhere on the screen there's a button to subscribe. Don't forget to click the little bell. That'll send you an email when I drop something, and you can watch whatever I drop at your convenience, kind of thing. But real quick, I want to go over, besides the Geek Authority show, which is what you're watching right now, I have the TGA's Mysterious Chamber of Collectibles, and that's where I collect things, have been collecting things, and bring them out of my closet and under my bed and my pillows, and show you things that have existed, including Space 1999 stun guns. Also, I have a thing called Unboxing the Geek Authority, where I get new stuff for the very first time. You see it, I see it. Open it up in front of you. My reaction's real, and I end up playing with it. It's so much fun. And then I have TGA's reviews, comments, opinions, opinions, and commentary. Say it properly. Where I talk about things that I like and don't like, mainly things I like, and give you my opinions on things, and have some wonderful clips and so on and so forth. I also have my TGA's Talk About show, which is where we talk about various things and shows. For example, Redetha, I believe, was my guest on the Space 1999 Talk About show.
Yes.
I've also done the
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. You were there as well. I've also done a sentimental journey to Disneyland and California Adventure, where a bunch of my family and friends got together in terms of talking about the parks being closed for now over a year. And then my last show, my most recent show is called Making Entertainment, the Geek Authority. And what I do is go behind the scenes of productions that are preparing or producing or going to be opening either a play, a Zoom project, a film, and talk about the making of that project before it's released. So you get to learn about how it's done and the details and all the people involved, both cast and crew. So with that said, again, I got to say thank you, Redetha. This has been so much fun. Yay.
Thank you. It's been so much fun for me, too.
So whenever you do another project and you're involved with a group, get together with the director, producers, whatever, if it's your project or theirs, and let's get together and do another making of.
That would be amazing. That'd be awesome. We will.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching so much. And, of course, we'll see you next time on the next show. And let's say bye for now.
Wow.
Aw, bye. Let me do that. Mwah. Together. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Mwah.